Welcome, tea friends. This is Barb Gully from Barbs Tea Service, and we are on our 6th podcast.
We are.
Of Barbs Tea Service presents But First TV. No, First Tea. Oh boy, I'm gonna need my.
Get your tea on.
Yes. So we're
I thought, but did we change something here?
Okay, need some more caffeine, and good thing we've got a really good appropriate tea selection today. But so we are here courtesy of On TV Studios, and I want to introduce our technical studio engineer, arm candy, Chris Gully.
Here I am.
Hi there.
Hi.
Thank you. So I'm really excited about today's podcast because it's all things Scottish.
Yes.
And a little bit of royal, a little bit of flavor of royal. Okay. And we're going to talk about our trip to Scotland last fall. And we're going to cover things like Edinburgh, the Royal Mile, tartan.
Yep.
We're going to talk about our fun afternoon tea at the Preston Field home. And if we have to, we'll also, if we have time, we want to talk about our short trip to St. Andrews.
Yes.
And then finally, if we do have time, we're going to do a tea etiquette tip. Or actually, it's an etiquette tip. And it involves kind of a tie-in from last week.
Right.
But, okay. But first, tea.
Yes.
Okay, so today what I have brewed up is Scottish breakfast tea. And Chris, and I'm going to take a little taste of this.
Yep.
Okay, this is actually from Edinburgh. It's
Yes.
Edinburgh Tea and Coffee Company.
Yep.
And this is their breakfast tea.
Everyone has a breakfast tea.
Everyone has a breakfast tea.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the taste of this?
Well, so because I've been kind of reduced in past shows to say, oh, this tastes kind of good. I said I need a tasting wheel and to help me better describe. So I would say, so I have the tea flavor wheel trademark by someone here. I would say this is kind of like a lot of black teas. It's kind of on the earthy side.
Definitely.
And I think a little bit of maybe peat, which is kind of appropriate for Scottish breakfast tea, I thought. I don't know if that's accidental or that's on purpose, but, you know, and it has, as you know, I enjoy a Scotch once in a while, and I like kind of that mild peatiness.
That's right.
It's a very similar profile. So that's my take on that. But I do want to talk about this flavor wheel for just 1 second, because I was looking through it. And so there are some interesting flavor profiles that makes me think, like, who on earth would like buy this tea if it tastes like that? For example, decaying wood, forest floor. Let's see, what was the other one? Another one that tastes like has a profile of asparagus. Really?
Okay, that's better to stick to asparagus.
Yes, yeah. Real asparagus. So anyway, that's interesting. So if you serve me something that does taste like asparagus, we're going to need to talk.
Although, you know, in some instances, peat might be a hard sell.
Yeah, that's true.
But it makes sense for this and for your Scotch.
Yes.
So,
all right.
So, okay, we're doing a breakfast tea. And there are the origins of breakfast tea. There's
English,
there's Irish breakfast tea, and then there's Scottish
Right.
breakfast tea. And they seem to go heavier.
Yes.
As we go England, Ireland, Scotland.
I agree. Yeah.
And do you know any of the how they originated?
I do not.
Okay, let me inform.
All right.
So, in England, tea started out in the 1600s, and it was their breakfast tea would have been mostly it would have been from China,
right?
And then slowly they started, you know, their plantations in India, and we've got these nice Assams that come in, and that's when Ireland really got into the tea, they liked the heavy ones,
right?
And then with Scotland, it got even a little bit heavier. Still, we're doing the heavy teas,
right?
And it's partly because they wanted to have all these groups wanted to have a heavy tea for breakfast to go with their heavy breakfast meal,
right? And
you can also add milk to this.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So anyway, a little bit of little snapshot of breakfast tea, and we wanted to have it because we're back in our usual slot in the morning at the studio.
Yeah, that's right. When we need the caffeine.
We need the caffeine. That was obvious. Yeah. Okay, so we wanted to talk about our trip last fall to Scotland, and it's such a coincidence because we had put this on the calendar for a while to do this one,
right?
And Facebook Memories today shows that 6 years ago, 2018, to the day, we were in Edinburgh.
It's spooky.
It is spooky. It was like it was meant to be. So that was my first encounter with Scotland. But you had been there,
right?
Back when you were 19, doing a bike trip through.
Yep.
So this was part of our 3-week road trip, through England.
Yep.
And you did all the driving.
It was about 1,400 miles. Steering wheel on the right, driving on the left, and live to tell the tale.
Right. Just one slight ding.
Yeah. We weren't going to talk about that.
Okay. Sorry. All right. So when we were so what we did is we had started our trip in London, went to Bath, as we've talked about before. We met our kids, Matt and Jenna, up at Loncloom,
right?
Which was in.
So it's in Loncloom is the restaurant. Cartmel was the village, and it's in the Lake District.
Okay.
So it's kind of the northwestern part of Britain proper.
Right.
Of England proper, I should say.
So we went there to do this really fancy restaurant. And then from there, we went up to Edinburgh with Matt and Jenna, and we stayed there for, I think it was 2.5, 3 days.
Sure.
And we had a lovely Airbnb that Jenna had arranged, and it was right off the Royal Mile.
Yes.
So during that time, we engaged in activities of Scotland, of Edinburgh. So we went down the Royal Mile, and it's anchored by the Holyrood Palace and then Edinburgh Castle.
Right, at either end.
Correct.
Yep.
So we did a lot of dining. We did a lot of shopping. And Jen and I got into a sticky toffee pudding rage.
Well, yes. If you're going to have a rager, that's the one to have.
So good. That'll be another whole podcast. Yeah. You had a little bit, as you mentioned earlier, a little bit of the Scotch tasting.
Yes, I did. Yep. Very enjoyable, and they do it well. I think they named a whole country after it.
Yeah, you're right. It was such a great product. So one day we did a shopping, and we all came back with something that was plaid.
That's right.
Tartan. We always I think a lot of us think of the strong association between plaid or tartan and Scotland.
Right.
So you purchased a lovely Scottish driving cap.
Right.
That was your second.
Yes, I have a very sorry history with caps bought in the British Isles. I'm on my third one. The first two have been lost. So
hold on.
I'm holding on to this one.
Hold on to your hat. Yeah. So you got that lovely cap, and then Jenna had a really pretty shawl. Matt got a really snazzy sport coat.
Right.
And I got this scarf, and show it on camera.
Yep.
But for those of you who
are
just listening, it is a memorial tartan in honor of Princess Di.
Right.
Has some of her favorite colors. It's a pastel pink and blue. And I loved it. And so and we're on a mission to get this tartan. So, but what I found out was that even though we have that strong association with tartan and Scotland, that it wasn't all these, the clan tartan names.
Right.
That doesn't date back for years or centuries.
Yeah, right. It's a fairly recent development.
Fairly recent,
Yeah.
if you're going back 1,000 years.
Yeah, right.
So I just want to talk a little bit about the tartanery.
I did not know that was a word until you started saying that at the house.
Yes. So I'll try and make this a short story, but
Right.
tartan did come from. It started out in the Scottish Highlands,
Right.
and because it's kind of cold up there,
Mm-hmm.
the local weavers would make a very heavy fabric,
Right.
so that to protect them from
Right.
the climate. And the different localities, the small regions, they would have their own weavers,
Right.
and they would have kind of a distinctive style
Mhm.
because it wasn't standardized.
Right.
You weren't buying this from Amazon.
No.
So they had these kind of distinct patterns,
Mhm.
and then as people came together, they recognized, oh, you are from here because
Right.
you have that pattern.
Mhm.
And much like today, if we're wearing a baseball cap from our local team,
Right.
people know where our hometown is.
Right.
So then that was about the extent of it
Right.
until
Right.
King George IV
Mm-hmm.
comes to Edinburgh shortly after his coronation,
Right.
and he says he's going to wear tartan because he wants to unify.
And this is 1820?
Yeah,
or so?
about 1822.
Okay.
Very good.
All right.
And so, since he says this, Sir Walter Scott tells people in Edinburgh, come to this rally and with King George, and let's wear your clan tartan to
Right.
show that we are behind
Right.
the king. And so many of these people had no idea
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
their clan tartan was.
You want us to do what?
So they rushed to the largest weaver in
Yeah.
town,
Uh-huh.
and they start getting these tartans that we now say,
Yep.
okay, this belongs to
This
the
clan,
Camerons,
yeah, right.
and
Uh-huh.
this belong to the Browns,
Right.
and so now that's when it came. So it's sort of a marketing thing,
Sure.
and they push it,
Yeah.
and so we buy this stuff.
That's right. It
And
works.
It works, absolutely. But here's what I say. So some people have accused this practice of selling all this plaid
Right.
as tartanery.
Uh-huh.
This is kitschy.
Mhm.
It's just marketing.
Uh-huh.
But I would say I like it.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
These are nice things. And now we're at the 200 mark.
Yeah.
So get over it.
Yes, that's right.
It's
Yeah.
been a tradition
That's
for a
right.
while.
Yeah. It
Okay.
counts. All right. Well done.
Anything else you want to add about tartan?
No. It's a look.
It is a look. Okay. So, all right. So we did some other things other than the shopping and the
Right.
scotch and the
Uh-huh.
sticky toffee pudding. We went to Mary King's Close, which we'll maybe cover at another time.
Yeah.
Or,
Mhm.
we'll put a
Yeah.
footnote on that. But we also wanted to go, our last day, we wanted to go to Edinburgh Castle.
Right.
And again, that's the other end
Right.
of the Royal Mile.
Mhm.
And this was our first venture into Edinburgh using our car
Yep.
because we could walk everywhere.
Right.
And we
Mhm.
wanted to take the car because we were going to take Matt and Jenna to the airport.
Right,
Because
right.
they had to catch a flight back to London.
We had a great plan.
We had a great plan. We were going to do
Yep.
the castle, and then we were going to go to afternoon tea.
Right.
So,
But
Chris, tell us the parking situation in Edinburgh.
so yes, all right. So we're a little off the tea topic, but if you are actually, our public service announcement is if you are anticipating a trip to Edinburgh, it's a little kind of gangland warfare to find a parking spot there. So it's a little bit, I don't know. It's a little bit of a racket. So the situation is there's plenty of parking, and I'm making air quotes. So they have parking meters that require that you can pay coins in, and they thoughtfully advertise a phone-in system that you can get a parking spot, and pay for it, and then also an app. So we go to park, and quickly find out that the VRU, the voice response unit system that they have for parking, doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I being an ex-IT guy, I think it was just overloaded and couldn't maintain a call connection.
They hadn't anticipated the volume.
Yes, right. So then, okay, no problem. We're Americans. There's an app for that. We can download the app. So we download the app, no problem, and go to register. And it wouldn't take an American or North American telephone number to register with. So that was a problem. So we were suddenly scrounging around for any kind of coinage that we could. And this is, you're talking, a few pounds of money that you have to.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
That's several pounds.
Of coins. Yeah.
Weighty.
And on top of this, so Scotland and I think England or Great Britain as a whole is trying to go cashless. So I'm kind of like going down to various businesses trying to see if I can get some coins to feed the beater. No one has any coins, because it's all. So anyway, so I had to go kind of attend to the car while y'all went up to the castle. It wasn't a big deal, but while I was there, I said, well, let me make good use of it. Let me try to find this tea room, because it was kind of outskirts-ish, on the outside of Edinburgh, and so.
So your first criteria was, do they have their own parking lot?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I needed to find that out. So we go. There's an area called Prestonfield. So there's the Prestonfield Tea Room, and then there's also kind of an area called Prestonfield, probably some old estate. So there's a golf. I punch in my GPS, and we head in, or I head in and try to find a parking spot. Well, it's a parking lot for the golf course only. So I exit that. They get a picture of my license plate. That's $100 fine just for driving in and driving out.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is it because we had a few of those.
Yeah, we had a few of those. Yeah. Anyway, so that's our tale of woe on that. So anyway, that's enough of that. I found I got a little emotional talking about that.
Well, I think the other part about this is almost 2 hours of searching, and we're up at the Edinburgh Castle, and the other sad thing is you're going around. We're trying to connect with you.
Yeah.
We really only wanted to go there to see the crown jewels.
Yes.
And we wait in line.
Yeah.
The three of us.
Yeah.
And we're all stressed for you too.
Yeah.
And it says the crown jewels are not available.
But here's a picture of them.
But there was a picture.
Oh, and you can't take a picture.
And you cannot, ironically, we couldn't take pictures of it.
Yeah.
But it was a picture of the crown jewels on a pillow.
Yeah.
they went to that much detail. Anyway.
Other than that, it was a great time.
Other than that. So the three of us get an Uber so we can join you at Prestonfield. And I will tell you, after all that, we were richly rewarded.
Yes, it was
with what you had found.
A fabulous tea room. It really was.
It was.
Yeah.
So it's called Prestonfield House,
yeah.
And it was built in the late 1600s by the King's architect, Sir William Bruce.
Yes.
And he also had designed Holyrood Palace.
Right.
So we go in there, and so just a little bit more on the history. So it belongs to the Provost of Edinburgh. And then finally, in 1958, it becomes a hotel out of the family hands.
Yep.
Yeah, hotel. And then it's purchased by a local restaurateur.
Yep.
His last name's James. And he spent almost 2 decades restoring this whole thing.
Right.
And he ended up, our waiter told us that he worked there originally.
Yes.
That was his first entry into food service.
Yes, yeah.
And his dream was to buy this.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, what a delight. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
We had afternoon tea upstairs, and they had, it's just this, it's red velvets and gilded, painted ceilings. Beautiful, beautiful tea fair. We were there for their autumn fest. We had haggis croquet.
And haggis is a thing. I like haggis.
I love haggis. Yeah. I was surprised.
It's kind of like a stuffing, really.
It is.
It's really
What's to not love?
And we love stuffing.
Right. So this was just what I guess the doctor ordered, so to speak. Mm-hmm. We were having this lovely.
It was calming, and I could park.
And you could park
without getting a fine.
Oh my gosh, that was great. So we had this beautiful tea. I remember I had an English. I had a Earl Grey Supreme. I don't know. Do you recall what tea you had?
I don't.
You might have had ours. I think the kids had a flavored one. Right. Anyway, it was just beautiful. Mm-hmm. And we found out that Queen Elizabeth had come there for her 80th birthday.
Yes.
And so they had pictures of her and sort of that history with it, which was nice.
Now, she would spend some small amount of time actually in residence at Holyrood.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. She would. That was a tradition of hers in August.
Right.
And there would be a big
to-do.
To-do for that.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
When we were, so that was our trip to, I want to get back to the Queen in a minute.
Right.
But a real quick story about a short trip we did to St. Andrews.
Yes.
So we dropped the kids off at the airport.
Yep.
Chris and I go up to St. Andrews for a couple of days.
Yep.
And we were going to watch.
Yeah.
They were having it
was a pro-am thing going on.
With celebrities.
With a celebrity. And there was a celebrity spotted.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So, and mind you, the weather conditions had really turned, and it was terrible. It was so windy and rainy.
It was horizontal rain.
Horizontal rain, right. And our umbrellas had collapsed. Yeah. And I don't even want to talk about a bad hair day, but
mine was awful.
But and they canceled, obviously.
Right, yeah.
I think they had to even shave off a day. But anyway, while we were going to the gift shop at the old course, we spotted Bill Murray in a golf cart.
Yes.
And I got a quick picture of him. It's very blurry, so you'd have to take my word for it. But that was our brief encounter with one of the celebrities. And then we ditched into this hotel on the side of the grounds called Rustics. We had I got a pot of Earl Grey.
Yep.
And I think, did you have a scotch?
I think I did. Yeah, because and we overlooked the old course and out of our window, and that was fantastic. So it was I think the Scots called it a bragh day. It was that's their word for crappy.
Yeah.
And so it kind of made everything a little bit better.
Right.
We kind of warmed up and had a very nice lunch. So.
Right. And it was really kind of fun to be there, part of this historic place.
Yep.
And we did get a feel for it, even though it was miserable. Okay. All right. So let's get back to the Queen.
That's right.
So the Queen had, she had been to Edinburgh.
Right.
Goes to Holyrood, goes to Prestonfield.
Yep.
And it brought to mind the etiquette tip for today.
Yep.
Which we can wrap up with.
Yep.
And last week we talked about finger foods.
Yes.
What's a finger food? What do you use a knife and fork?
Yep.
And we did have some viewer responses.
Yep.
Someone sent us a picture of their pretzel bites.
Yes.
That they were at.
Yeah.
Asked if it was finger food or utensils. It's like, pretzel bites and beer cheese. I think you're going to be using your fingers.
That's right.
There's no big ceremony for that.
Right.
But anyway, appreciated the inquiry.
Right.
So when we were talking about the finger foods and utensils, one that I think will kind of is something to somewhat surprising, but how do you eat a banana?
Well, normally, and I know this is probably a trick question, but it's held in a hand, and you manipulate it, take the peel off, and enjoy it thusly.
Okay, that's because you're not a royal.
This is true.
That's how you can tell in a room.
Right.
how you approach eating a banana.
Uh-huh.
And so in your deep dives on social media
Right.
and Twitter, you mine a lot of
Yep.
things for me, and you sent me
Right.
You sent me this video of one of the England's etiquette professionals,
Right.
and he shared how royals eat a banana.
Yes.
And it is with a knife and fork.
Amazing.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So I will tell you how you do it.
Uh-huh.
So you would take your fork
Mm-hmm.
and kind of hold down the banana, and
Right.
you would, with the knife, you'd
Yeah.
cut off both ends.
Right.
Okay, so
All right.
then you take the fork,
Uh-huh.
kind of position the banana,
Right.
and then you take the knife and just slit
Uh-huh.
it right down the middle, the peel.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And then with your knife and fork, you can
Yep.
pry the peel away from the
Uh-huh.
fruit.
Right.
And then you can cut up slices
Mm-hmm.
and use the fork
Yep.
to convey the banana to your mouth.
Wow.
Right. And so your fingers don't get messy at all.
Not that they get messy in the first place, but that's just me.
But it seems, I mean, if you might occasionally touch the banana,
Yeah.
maybe. But anyway, you're pretty good about that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you hang on.
That's what I do.
So, but I think it's more dignified probably for the royals to do this.
Right.
And also, it was reminiscent of Mr. Pitt from Seinfeld.
That's right.
How did he eat a Snickers?
With a knife and fork.
Right. Now, that definitely keeps you from getting
Yeah.
the chocolate
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your fingers.
Okay.
So, there's some other maybe unconventional ways to look at how we eat. So
Yes.
nothing is set in stone
That's right. Or sudden banana.
or set in the stone of scone.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So with that, I think we have,
We've exhausted all of our topics
yeah,
for today.
for today. So what I do want to remind folks is that all of the topics that we talked about today,
Mm-hmm.
sticky toffee pudding,
Yep.
tartanery,
Mm-hmm.
Prestonfield,
Yep.
St. Andrews, how to eat a banana.
That's right.
They're all blog stories.
That's it.
And so if you want to know a little bit more, go to barbsteashop.blogspot.com.
Yep.
And
Truly a wealth of information.
wealth of information. Also, we are on YouTube. So our podcast is not only on YouTube, but we have some different
Yep.
shorts.
Right.
I also demonstrate how to eat a banana on one of my shorts,
Yep.
one of my reels.
Yep.
So on YouTube, find us at Barbs Tea.
Right.
You'll
Very
see.
good. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So do I...
You hear a certain sound. What could it be?
Okay, I hear that sound of the tea kettle. That's telling us it's time to wrap up.
Nice.
We're going to be leaving Scotland,
Yeah.
but we want to thank everybody for listening / watching,
Uh-huh.
and to On TV Studios for having us in their studio.
Uh-huh.
And we welcome all your feedback.
That's great.
We love it.
Yep.
And I want to thank Chris for co-hosting.
Yeah. It's a pleasure.
Great. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Right.
And as always, we thank you. And please stay tuned.
All right.